Now we're hearing firsthand just how scary the road conditions have been today, with blowing snow, wheel-jerking wind, and long backups. And whiteout conditions and high winds caused more than 100-car pile up, with one person dead and multiple people injured. Plus, House Democrats are working on a plan to block the president's emergency declaration for a border wall. We'll take a look at their resolution up for vote this week.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight: high winds caused big trouble on our roads and in our homes today. Gusts were up to 60 miles an hour in some spots. Amy Reed joins us now to show us what that looks like. Amy.
Hopefully you listen to law enforcement warnings, and this will be your first view of Wisconsin roads today. We dealt with a little bit of everything: snow, ice, wind, but even those who stayed home, you couldn't really escape what the winds had in store today.
Travel not advised on I-94.
While not impossible,
Ice covered on I-94.
Driving in Wisconsin today wasn't exactly fun, especially if you had to tackle the whole state, like Yvette Pearson, who drove from Chippewa Falls to Janesville.
It was pretty scary driving on that for quite a while, but it did finally get a little bit better, but it was pretty scary driving for a while.
Yeah, icy roads, snow drifts, high winds, and jackknifed semis. It's the stuff out of driving nightmares. Even keeping a camera steady was difficult in these conditions. So you can imagine the havoc this created for our power lines. At one point, forcing 11,000 people in Wisconsin to go without electricity, while Alliant Energy crews worked to get them back online. Some areas in Wisconsin are still without power, even as temperatures dip.
We're working as quickly as we safely can. In these conditions, there's still low visibility. There's snow continuing to come down. We have tree branches, and so our crews have to be safe working around that while we do everything we can to get customer service back on.
Some dealing with roads are at least fortunate enough to take matters into their own hands, driving John Deeres while snowplows are busy. But in those spots where patience is key, take it from the woman who drove all the roads today.
I would say if you're heading north, don't do it. Just give it another day or so. Let them clear it up, because the snow plows were just huge piles of snow they were moving. It was actually pretty impressive, but there was still no side to the road. It was still just the two lanes, even with them doing all that.
Alliant Energy said they're doing their best to get power back on in these areas in northern Wisconsin, but they did say, as a reminder, if you see a winter storm is coming, that's a good time to make sure everything you could need is charged and you have flashlights and blankets in case you lose power.
All right, thank you so much, Amy. A deadly pileup on Interstate 41 near Neenah today, involving more than 130 cars. It happened around 11 o'clock this morning during whiteout conditions. One person was killed and 71 others were injured. 5 people were admitted into the hospital. Hundreds were stalled while crews cleared the scene. The road is expected to remain closed until at least midnight tonight. And more scary conditions out on the roads today. This is video from I-90 at Highway 60 north of DeForest, where 20 cars were in the ditch around noon today. State Patrol officials say the multi-car crash was caused by snow drifting over an icy patch on the road. And in southern Minnesota, several highways are shut down due to whiteout conditions. Some snow drifts have been estimated as high as 6 feet, with wind gusts reaching 50 miles an hour. The National Guard had to be called in to help local law enforcement rescue people stranded by a blizzard that dumped a foot of snow in some places. About 75 people had to spend the night in 2 different National Guard armories. No significant snow in our forecast, but we will have to worry about extreme cold tomorrow morning. Dave Caulfield has your first alert forecast.
Bitterly cold wind chills on the way for southern Wisconsin. The wind is calming down across the area tonight, which is good news, but it still will be strong enough to create those bitterly cold wind chills by Monday morning. Right now at 9 degrees in Madison, wind out of the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour, making it feel like -5, but we still do have wind gusts across southern Wisconsin of about 30 to 40 miles per hour, even closer to 45 miles per hour near the lakeshore. Some other temperatures: 7 in Lone Rock, 8 in Boscobel, 6 in Prairie du Chien, 12 in Janesville, but it feels like -17 in Platteville, -10 in Mineral Point, and -13 in the Dells. Day planner, as we head closer to midnight, temperatures in the single digits will actually start below 0 tomorrow, with those extremely cold wind chills, bitterly cold wind chills, I should say. And temperatures will finish right around 10 degrees with a few flurries possible for tomorrow. We'll talk about a few chances for light snow coming up in your News 3 Now First Alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. We're not seeing much snow in the forecast next week, which is good news for farmers. Some are dealing with their buildings buckling under the weight of the snow after the repeat storms we've had this month. Those farm structures are usually older and they're exempt from state building codes, so there's no standard on how strong roofs need to be built. As we get closer to spring, the snow is expected to be wetter and heavier, which could put farm buildings at an even greater risk. The city of Madison is warning drivers of low visibility out on the roads due to blowing snow. Crews have been out since 4 this morning, salting roads and clearing slush away from melting snow piles. As temperatures drop again tonight, the city is warning people roads might become slippery as those wet areas freeze. South Pleasant View Road on the west side will be closed overnight because of some of that blowing snow. A 17-year-old is facing multiple charges after assaulting a Madison police officer who saw him taking part in a drug deal. This happened just before 5 yesterday afternoon on the city's west side. As officers tried to arrest the suspect, he headbutted one of them. Then police found a loaded gun, THC, heroin, and cocaine inside the teen's car. He was arrested for several charges, including drug possession, carrying a concealed weapon, and resisting arrest. Just into the Channel 3000 First Alert Center tonight, President Trump says he will delay a tariff increase on Chinese imports. Those were scheduled to take effect March 1st. But now the president is tweeting the two countries have made substantial progress in recent talks. Later this month, President Trump is planning a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Months ago, President Donald Trump declared North Korea no longer poses a threat to the U.S., but Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says it does, ahead of a planned summit between Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un this week. However, Pompeo isn't going completely against the president. He told CNN's Jake Tapper that the president said the country no longer poses a nuclear threat. Some reports say Trump is likely to try and convince Kim to abandon his nuclear program at this week's summit in Vietnam. It could be a pivotal week on Capitol Hill. House Democrats plan to take action against President Trump's national emergency declaration, and the president's former attorney, Michael Cohen, is expected to make a highly anticipated appearance before Congress. Ed O'Keefe has the latest.
House Democrats are preparing to vote Tuesday on a resolution to block President Trump's national emergency declaration, setting up yet another showdown over the border.
To spend money contrary to the will of the Congress is not constitutional. And, you know, it's going to be quite a spectacle.
I won't vote to try to block it. Look, I wish this would have happened a different way.
The president wants to use billions of dollars in military funding to build a southern border wall, despite campaign promises that Mexico would pay for it. He warns if the Democrats' bill makes it through the House and Senate, he'll veto it.
100%, and I don't think it survives a veto.
But that's not the only partisan battle brewing, as lawmakers prepare to hear testimony from the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, this week.
I don't know that we believe him this time. We'll just have to see it.
And await the completion of special counsel Robert Mueller's ongoing investigations.
We will obviously subpoena the report. We will bring Bob Mueller in to testify before Congress. We will take it to court if necessary.
The president tweeted the only collusion with the Russians was with crooked Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. His former strategist, Steve Bannon, accused Democrats of trying to weaponize the forthcoming findings.
I think that 2019 is going to be the most vitriolic year in American politics since before the Civil War, and I include Vietnam in that.
We don't expect the release of the special counsel's report in this coming week as the president is overseas in Vietnam. As for the construction of new border barriers, the Pentagon says don't expect that for several more months. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, the White House.
In Milwaukee, community members are doing what they can to support the family of a police officer killed 2 weeks ago. 35-year-old Matthew Rittner was shot while serving a search warrant on the city's south side. Last night, more than 500 people came out to pay tribute to him, including those who worked alongside him every day.
I'm going to miss everything about Matt. He brought to the team, to his friends, to his family, a humble approach to life. He brought a smile every day.
Rittner was a 17-year veteran with the Milwaukee Police Department and served 2 tours in Iraq as a U.S. Marine. He leaves behind his wife and son. Next week, Governor Tony Evers will release his state budget, and that includes some financial changes for the UW system. Evers campaigned on continuing the tuition freeze Republicans put in place in 2013. The governor also wants undocumented students, those whose parents brought them to the U.S. illegally as children, to be able to pay in-state tuition. He's also setting aside $50,000 to study the feasibility of creating a student loan refinancing authority. Evers is set to release the full budget on Thursday. As the Democratic National Committee decides which city will host the convention in 2020, Governor Evers is calling out one of Milwaukee's competitors. Miami Democrats say they have more hotel space than Milwaukee and know how to show wealthy donors a good time. Governor Evers responded to that report, saying that statement is what's going to cause them not to get it. He said if Miami is touting itself as a place for wealthy Democrats, not many will show up, and added Milwaukee is the best place to represent Democrats who come from all walks of life. The mayor of Miami Beach says he doesn't get involved with hissy fits when asked to respond to Evers' comments. Aside from Milwaukee and Miami Beach, Houston is also in the running to host the DNC. Tomorrow, the Madison School Board is scheduled to adopt a proposal to add metal detector screening to your child's morning routine. The idea started after a shooting near La Follette High School back in September. The plan says staff would use a metal detector wand anytime they felt the need to increase security for any reason. Tomorrow on News 3 Now this morning, we're talking with parents to see how they feel about the idea. Coming up, a local child psychiatrist hopes to change the conversation about treatment for mental illness. We'll take a look at his new movie. And a 12-year-old's wish has come true. The Greek freak is his teammate. Welcome back. Wisconsin dairy farmers are seeing higher trucking costs because of an oversupply of milk is straining the market. A new report from the Upper Midwest Federal Milk Marketing Order shows the average cost to haul 100 pounds of milk in Wisconsin was 24 cents in 2018, a 40% increase from the year before. Last year's unusual jump is partially due to a spike in diesel fuel costs. But the oversupply of milk also plays a role because processors don't have to subsidize hauling costs to attract farmers. An ice cream shop in Janesville is debuting a new type of special ice cream. Little Cheeky Ice Cream Shop has 2 new flavors featuring CBD. The flavors are chamomile and mint. You have to be 18 years old to buy it. Creator Andrew Osmond says the ice cream can have a relaxing quality. The pints are also available for purchase at Basics Cooperative Natural Foods in Janesville. More dreams coming true this weekend. The Milwaukee Bucks have a new player on the roster today. Last night at a news conference, 12-year-old Easton King signed a 1-day contract with his favorite team. He has a neuromuscular disease and has been in a wheelchair since he was 2 years old. When the Make-A-Wish Foundation asked him his wish, he couldn't imagine anything better than to hang out with the Bucks and his favorite player, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm used to watching him on TV a lot, so when I got in the court, when I saw all these players, all I could see is basically their legs.
And at the end of the day, when you look back, you're going to remember all these moments, that you were able to, help kids and make kids' day special.
Easton received his very own jersey and a warm welcome from the team. Giannis and Easton make plans to hang out again and play some video games. A Madison child psychiatrist hopes to bring changes to mental health treatment by picking up a camera. A new documentary by Dr. Sean Ackerman of SSM Health follows the life of Kelly Gibson from upstate New York. Instead of relying solely on medication and dealing with side effects, Kelly manages his autism and manic episodes with alternatives like exercise, mindfulness, and his love of playing bluegrass music. Dr. Ackerman hopes the movie will strike a chord in the medical community.
None of this is to say that medications aren't important for so many people, but it's sort of to say, it's not the only answer. There are other things that are just as evidence-based.
Making the movie was a 3-year process for Dr. Ackerman. To see Kelly's full journey, you can find the movie on Amazon. All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather. Dave Caulfield, we had quite a busy weather weekend.
This weekend was absolutely wild, Amanda, ending today with wind gusts of about 60 to 65 miles per hour closer to Lake Michigan. Milwaukee officially coming in with a 63 mile per hour gust. That's just about 10 miles per hour off of hurricane force winds. And a lot of us experienced about tropical storm force winds across southern Wisconsin. In Madison, we saw wind gusts of about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Here's our time lapse on the Edgewater Skycam. The snow falling earlier this morning, and then all the snow that was on the ground being whipped around into drifts, really large drifts, especially closer to southeastern Minnesota into Iowa. Very hazardous travel throughout the day. That's starting to get a little bit better, but travel still hazardous, and there still could be some blowing and drifting snow overnight, even though that wind has calmed down a little bit. Here's what it looks like on the Edgewater Skycam for tonight. And again, as I mentioned, alert day still in the forecast for tonight into tomorrow morning for some blowing snow, and also wind chills falling to minus 15 to minus 25. We have a wind chill advisory in effect from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow. Right now, temperatures have fallen into the single digits in Madison and Monroe, Mineral Point and Platteville as well, still at 12 in Janesville. Winds have definitely calmed down compared to where they were earlier, but still a little bit blustery out of the north and west at about 15 miles per hour, and gusting still about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So we still need a few more hours for those wind gusts to calm down even further. Wind chills are well below zero in Madison and close to 20 below zero in Platteville and Prairie du Chien. The forecast for tonight into the overnight hours, windy early, then bitterly cold overnight with temperatures falling below zero. On on future track, we can see the mostly clear skies overnight, allowing temperatures to fall below zero in spots like Madison, and wind chills will be well below zero. Then we're pretty chilly on Monday overall, with highs only near 10 degrees. A few flurries possible. Some light snow is possible as we head into Tuesday. We'll get to that after we get through the latest thing Mother Nature is throwing at us, which is the cold wind chills, bitterly cold, in fact, about -20 to -25 possible on our wind chill factor by the time we get to tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at your 7 to 10 day forecast. Temperature is a little bit warmer on Tuesday and Wednesday, but some light snow is possible. A short break on Thursday. But then by the time we get to the weekend, we could be talking about some more accumulating snow. Temperatures in the upper 20s Friday, in the upper teens on Saturday. There's just not that much time on the 10-day forecast as we enter March over the next few days. We're marching right on with more active weather, it seems. Mother Nature does not want to give us a break, and I need a break, folks. Honestly, I need a vacation after this weekend.
I mean, I'm not even in my bed yet, and I don't want to leave it tomorrow morning because I'm a little nervous. But thank you for letting us know, Dave.
You're welcome.
No rest for the Badgers. How are they staying energetic with just 2 days between games? That story coming up next in sports.
It was
Well, it's a busy home stretch of the regular season for the Badgers. They just played last night in Evanston, back in Madison today, off to Indiana tomorrow, and then a game against the Hoosiers on Tuesday night. So quite the whirlwind, and not all starting five guys are going to be 100% every single night. But luckily, the Badgers bench has contributed and helped a lot this season. Players like Brevin Pritzel, Kobe King, and Aleem Ford have been key contributors, and that's been the difference.
One of the big things is we've always had someone else step up. I think it's been a consistent supply of a lot of people, and last night Aleem was huge for us, hitting 2 big threes. Chuck gave us some big minutes there in the second half when we were in foul trouble. So little things like that. When shots aren't falling, you got to find new ways to win, whether that's get on the glass, defensively, hustle plays, just trying to make an impact, help your team win.
Elsewhere in the Big Ten, Michigan State at Michigan earlier today. We pick it up in the second half. Ignas Brasdakis using 2 hands there. Wolverines up 6. Later, Cassius Winston helping make a comeback with the jumper here. Spartans take the lead, or in the lead rather, 62-55. Aaron Henry to Xavier Tillman for some more style points for the Spartans, and 10th-ranked Michigan State upsets 7th-ranked Michigan 77-70 the final. So the spring training opener for the Brewers was not a win, but that's okay. That's why it's spring training. The Crew continuing to tune up today against the Rangers. And Hernan Perez played with a chipped bone in his wrist last postseason, so the doctors cut it out of his hand during the offseason. As evidenced by today, he didn't really need it anyway. His first at-bat today launches it out of there for the 3-run home run, 3-0 Brewers in the first. In the second, bases loaded for Perez again. He goes to right center, a 3 RBI double. We'll take it. 7-0 Brewers. They win big today, 10-1 the final score. WIAA Team State Wrestling is coming up this weekend rather. Stoughton, the top seed in Division 1. The Vikings aiming to win back-to-back championships. They'll face 8th-seeded Arrowhead on Friday at 5:30 at the Fieldhouse. In Division 3, Fenimore coming in at the number 2 seed. They'll face St. Croix Falls on Saturday morning at 10. Fenimore trying to win their first state title since 2016. The state boys hockey tournament starts this Thursday at the Alliant Energy Center. Verona beat Sun Prairie in the sectional final last night, so the Wildcats will be in the quarterfinals as the number 4 seed. Verona will play 5th-ranked Eau Claire North on Thursday at 12:30. Our Prep Mania Game of the Week postseason edition as teams try to advance from regionals. 9th-ranked River Valley visiting 8th-ranked Lodi. Winner faces top seed Prairie du Chien, and the action gets underway at 7 o'clock with Jay Wilson and John Boyle. That's live on channel3000.com. And finally tonight, college baseball at Jacksonville University in Florida. You see the game being stopped because something was in center field. What was that something? It was actually a dead fish. An osprey dropped it onto the field after an eagle was chasing him, trying to steal his fish away. A member of the grounds crew eventually came out there and had the unfortunate task of picking it up and throwing it away. So
I can't even believe that.
Everybody just lost their lunch. It's fine.
Oh, that is so weird. I mean, and for the players, they were probably like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. You see something falling out of the sky, it's just like, what?
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. We'll be right back. All right, so tomorrow morning, it's going to feel like what?
About -15 to -25 outside.
good.
Our latest thing that we need to deal with. Mother Nature just doesn't want us to take any sighs of relief anytime soon. We still do have some gusty winds, about 30 to 40 miles per hour across southern Wisconsin. The wind gusts will get a little bit better, a little bit easier to deal with by tomorrow morning. Wind chills already below 0 across southern Wisconsin. And as I mentioned, by the time we get to tomorrow morning with temperatures below 0, wind chills of -15 to -25 possible. So bundle up early tomorrow morning. Highs will only reach about 10 degrees. Some flurries are possible at times. Nothing significant, though. Some light snow possible on Tuesday into Wednesday. About an inch of snow looking like the most likely right now. Then as we head into next weekend, some more accumulating snow is possible.
Goodness. And it has been a long weekend.
It's been a long winter.
Yes.
It's been a long day. It's just been a long time.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.